welcome to Sectors Up Close. I'm Elena Casas. Our focus today is on pet care, and my guest is Ross Gerber, President and CEO of Gerber Kawasaki. Well, if you adopted a new furry friend during the pandemic, you are far from alone. Approximately 12.6 million US households got a new pet in 2020. The amount we spend on our pets has also soared. The American Pet Products Association projects Americans will spend a record $99 billion this year on everything from veterinary care to pet food to treats and grooming. That's wagging the tail of businesses like animal medicine developer Reuters and online retailer Chewy. This is the FactSet Pet Care Index. It doesn't just contain US companies, but global giants like Nestle, who are major producers of pet food. American investors can buy in via the ProShares Pet Care ETF. The net asset value of that has doubled in the 2 years since it was created, and it's up 14.4% this year. Here are some of the major pet care constituents. Companies like Nestle and Merck mean that a big slice of this pie is really just consumer staples, but pure play pet companies like Freshpet, Chewy and Zoetis all feature. But is the pet trend for life or just for lockdown? Let's ask Ross Gerber, President and CEO of Gerber Kawasaki. Hi Ross, thanks for joining us. Now, is pet care really an investable sector, or is this just a sexier way to talk about consumer staples giants who happen to make pet food?
Yeah, it's funny you brought up those companies because we specifically avoid those for our pet investments because they're so diversified and the actual pet side of their business is not that large relative to the overall company. But when you look at the pet industry, I have never seen an industry with well, that's not true. There's a couple other industries, but it is in our top industries of growth and potential. We have never lost money in the pet industry, and I think the momentum's even gaining speed, not losing.
Of course, pet ownership boomed during the pandemic, but animal shelters now say there's been a spike in people giving animals up. So is the pet boom passing?
No, I think that you read these things. The bottom line is the demand for pets is off the charts. It's an emotional reaction to several things. One, people are getting married later and they're having children later, so they're replacing that with pets. And secondly, a lot of people are divorced, and as they get older, they want companionship and they've replaced a spouse with pets. And they have all this excess love. And with that excess love, it's going into the pet care industry, anywhere from the supplements and things to keep your pet healthy to just high-end food. I mean, just the food people are feeding their dogs. In a lot of cases, like in Los Angeles, the animals are living better than many of the humans. So, we entered a stage where we believe pets are humans and we treat them as such and we spend as much money as such. And that's a huge opportunity for investors.
But how exactly are people spending that money on their pets? Which companies are the best bets?
Well, where we're invested in, and also invested in my fund GK, is first of all in the retail and animal wellness. We just took a big investment in Petco, which just went public. Petco is a great retailer, and they've pivoted. They still do the services, and they have a great online business, but they've pivoted more toward pet health and health care, which I think is a better business for them. And they really have a great store and online model. We have an investment in Chewy, which is basically just the online marketplace, and it's a subscription model that people are buying their pet, whether it be food or other things that, toys and such. And then we have an investment in Zoetis, and that's really about drugs and healthcare. So we're a little bit more focused on the healthcare side of the pets, because basically if your pet breaks a leg, they take care of it. Your pet has cancer, they take care of it now. It used to be your pet just died, So all this healthcare is really, really profitable and a great business to be in because everybody wants to take care of their pets.
Thanks so much for that. That was Ross Gerber, founder and CEO of Gerber Kawasaki. Well, before I go, here are some of the top stories in the sector. Animal shelters across the US do say there's been a marked increase in the number of animals being surrendered to shelters in recent months, saying there is a correlation between the impact of the pandemic on poorer communities and families saying they can no longer care for an animal. 1.5 million shelter animals have to be euthanized every year in the US. And can you give your pet COVID? A study in the Netherlands says yes. 1 in 5 cats and dogs living in a house where a human had tested positive also had antibodies to the disease. Although COVID-19 is thought to have originated in bats, there's no evidence pets can pass it to humans, and cats and dogs don't become seriously ill. And finally, in Brazil, where over 541,000 people have died from coronavirus, the country's first ever cat cafe has opened, with the aim of finding new homes for felines orphaned by the virus. All the cats living at Rio's Gato Cafe are looking for new homes. So, as well as getting a cup of coffee, visitors can also take home their new furry friend. And that's your roundup of the pet care sector. I'm Elena Casas, and this is Reuters.